Good morning, Rabbi Isai. So we are dealing with, for anybody that's brand new tonight, just came to see what this is all about. We're talking about a mincha. What's a mincha? A mincha is a gift that we give to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Usually it's a gift, sometimes you have to. It's made out of flour. Sometimes it's a pita, sometimes it's a bread. It's something made out of flour. Sometimes you mix it with oil, sometimes you don't. And the kohen puts his hand in like this. I'm not going to do the whole show that I did yesterday. Puts his hand into the flour, folds his 3 fingers like this, takes that much. That's how much goes onto the mizbeach. The rest of the bowl, the kohanim get to eat after it goes on the mizbeach. When it goes on the mizbeach, that's the matir. That allows me to eat everything that's left over in the bowl. Now, the kohen who does this could ruin the whole thing. Take it garbage. Not only ruin it, it can make it where you could be chayiv karas. How? If while he's doing one of the avodas, what are the avodas? So if you're with us in Zvachim, you know that when it comes to a regular carbon, there's 4 avodas. The shechita, it's in small, on top. Kabbalah, hoilacha, and zrika. We're not talking about a carbon, we're talking about a mincha. The whole Mesechus Menachos is like Mesechus Zvachim, just we're talking about a mincha, flour. In a mincha, there's also 4 avodas. There's kmitza, that's like shechita. When the kohen goes like this into the mincha, obviously there's nothing to kill here. It's just flour. Like this, it's similar to the avodah of shechita. It's called kmitza. What does he do afterwards? He takes these 3 fingers and he puts it into a second kli shares. It's a very chashuv kli made out of gold, not silver. In the time of the Beis Hamikdash heritage is going to be selling these gold things and there's gedusha to it. There's a meshicha. You anoint it with oil so it gets gedusha. You take the kmitza, you put it in there, poof, it becomes kaddish. It's already kaddish from the first one, okay, but you put in the second one. Then you take the little kli and you walk it over to the mizbech. That's called hoilacha. That's the 3rd avodah. And the 4th avodah is you put it onto the mizbeach, you burn it. That's called aktara. 4 out. If during any one of these 4 avodas, the kohen thinks a bad thought, what's a bad thought when it comes to a carbon? He thinks that he's not going to eat it today. Now, a mincha, you could only eat one day. Why could you only eat it one day? Because it's like kachei, kachim. A chatos, an asham. Shalmin tzibur. Oilo you can't eat anyway. But let's say a chatos. You could only eat it for one day. Kachim kalim, you could only eat for 2 days. So a mincha is like kachim, you could only eat it for one day. So this guy, either he did it on purpose, a mistake, whatever it was, he thinks to himself, I am going to eat this pita I'm making in 2 days from now. That's bad. And if he really eats it in 2 days from now, or he eats it right now, then he's chayiv karas. Why? Because it's pigul. So what I just said is called chutz lizman. The zman is, you could eat it today, and he ate it, or he's thinking to eat it tomorrow. That's outside of the time. Chutz lizman. His time is up to here, and he wants to eat it outside of the time. What's chutz l'makom? Oh, chutz l'makom is good. It has they stuck in some references to the chevra over here in Monroe. Chutz l'makom means, where can I eat this mincha? I could eat it right here, inside the Beis Hamikdash. That's it. What if I go to Kiryas Yoel? I take it, then it's awesome. What if I think in my brain that I'm going to eat it in Kiryas Yoel, in Monroe? That's chutz l'makom. It's not as bad as chutz l'zman. You can never get karas on chutz l'makom, but you made it possible. I cannot eat this mincha ever again. Why? Because while I'm doing one of the 4 avodas, kmitza, kabbalah, nekli, hoilacha, and haktara, while either one of those 4, not all 4, one out of the 4, I thought to myself, I'm going to eat it in America, I'm going to eat it in Bet Shemesh, in Haifa, in Kiryat Satman, in Bnei Brak, comes possible. HaKadosh says, "Amin cholechol shireh b'chutz." he thinks to himself that he's going to eat the leftover. He does a little kmitza from over here. So whatever's left in the box goes to the kohanim. Whatever's in the glove goes on the mizbech. This goes on the mizbech. This is the shirai. So it says like this. If when he's doing the kmitza, he thought to eat it on Mars or in Kiryas Yoel, or even a kazayis. Now, I want you to pay attention to remember that it says kazayis. Why? Because the Gemara is going to bring the brayse from Rebbe Chia. He says the entire Mishnah, he doesn't talk about a kazayis. He skips that whole line 4 times. It says in the Mishnah kazayis, he doesn't talk about it. Next, lahakter kumtza b'chutz. What's lahakter? To take the 4th avodah, to take this kmitza, what's in the glove, and put it on the mizbeach. That's aktara. That's also eating. Rabbi said that's eating. Why is that eating? Because the mizbeach eats, so to speak. It's a type of eating. There's human eating, and there's the mizbeach eating. He thought that he's going to do that outside of the Beis HaMikdash. Oy kezayis mikum tzavachot. Again, once again, a kezayis, just one kezayis. Oy lahakti levanos tzavachot. Or not to be makter the actual flour, but the levina, the frankincense. Pasul ve'im b'karas. It's pasul, but there's no karas. Why? Because this is b'chutz, chutz l'makayim. Where's the karas? Chutz l'zman. Now we're going to talk about that. Lechol shi'arel l'machar. Tomorrow is already too late. You can only eat the mincha today. So if he's thinking to himself he's going to eat the mincha tomorrow, that's called pigul. It's very simple. Pigul is very simple. The reason why people get confused is because you can do pigul in 4 places. When you do the kmitza, when you put it into the bowl, when you walk with it, it's 4 places. Also, it could be that you're thinking that you are going to eat the mincha, and it could also be that the mizbeach, I'm going to put it on the mizbeach. That's the mizbeach eating. So people start getting confused. There's a lot of details, but it's very, very simple. Just let's make it pashut. If somebody says to himself, I am going to eat this mincha tomorrow instead of today, that's pigul. And if he eats it, he's chayiv karas. To put it on the mizbeach tomorrow, that's also a type of eating. That's chutz l'zman. Or kazayis mikum tzil l'machar. Again, the kazayis. Rebbe Chia is not going to talk about the kazayis. Or lahagdil levinos l'machar. Or to be maktir the levina tomorrow, not the flour, but the levina. Pigul v'chayov malav karas. Dafid bezim adalaf. Zeh klal. This is the rule. Kol ha'koymetz v'hanoisim b'kli v'ha'moilech. So now we're going to go through all 4 avodas, Rabbi Yisai. Let's see if we have them here again. Here, I'm going to put the avodas on the screen, and you can follow together. Those are the first 2. Kmitza, noisim b'kli. And walking it to the mizbeach. V'hamaktir, that's the 4th one. Lechol dover shedarki lechol. To say that I'm going to eat the rest of this box, this shirayim, that's normal. That's good. Ulahaktir, dover shedarki lahaktir. And this part is the aktara. This is what I put on the mizbeach, what I took with my fingers. It's not edible. That's the mizbeach eats. If the thought in the kohen's head is he's going to eat it on Mars, in the MDY center in Mars, that's possible. There's no kares. But outside of if you think that you're going to eat it tomorrow instead of today, that's called pigul, and you chayiv kares. It could be another reason why people get confused is because in the Torah, when it says pigul, it means chutz l'makam. And chutz l'zman is not called pigul. In Gemara, pigul means chutz l'zman. Let's just go with the Gemara. We're learning Gemara now. Pigul means, I thought that I'm going to eat it tomorrow. It says in the Mishnah, but at least, in order to be oiver, in order to make it isser, you have to be makrivet, put it on the mizbeach, ki mitzvasoi. Komaz v'shtika nosam b'kli, v'hoylech v'ik d'chutz l'zman. Okay, shtika, what shtika means? Shtika means I didn't have a bad machshava. My brain was silent. I brought a mincha because it's a mitzvah to do the mincha, to bring a mincha. Not shtika means that I thought that I'm going to eat it in Mars. I thought I'm going to eat it tomorrow instead of today. So Ketzad, what does it mean in the Mishnah that he did it the right way? Chomatz b'shtika, when he did the kmitza was perfect. Nosam b'kli, but when he did the nosam b'kli, he put it into the kli, the second avodah. V'hoylech in the third avodah. V'hikter in the fourth avodah. Chutzes manoi, that was already messed up. He thought he's going to eat it tomorrow. Oh, shechomatz chutzes manoi, or the first avodah he did wrong. Nosam b'kli, v'hoylech v'hikter b'shtika, but the second, third, and fourth, he was quiet. It doesn't matter. The point of the Mishnah is, you see, there's a lot of words there saying the same thing. Point is, the machshava, the thought happened in one out of the four avodas. It doesn't matter which one, the first one, the fourth one, it's all bad. Okay, that's matter. That's karev matter. And what does it mean you didn't do it good? You didn't have a good machshava? Listen to this. Rabbi Isai, in order to, if you learn Zvachim, you know this inside out. In order to have a good machshavas pigul, it has to be perfect. You can't have any machshavas zudas. You can't have any zaytik machshavas. It has to be one bad machshava, not two. One machshava, I'm going to eat it tomorrow. What if you had a machshava? I'm going to eat it tomorrow and on Mars. Tomorrow and Mars. No good. It's not a good pigul. You don't get cars for that. So if you want to be a Rasha and be Oiver, you have to make sure it's one pure machshava. Lahavdil by a mitzvah. It has to be pure. So, if he had a thought that he's going to eat it on Mars outside of the place, then he added a second machshava of outside of its time. No good. It's not a chutz zmanoi. You're not going to get cars for that. Or he started off bad with chutz l'zman, right? Chutz l'zman is worse than chutz l'makom, because chutz l'zman you get kares, chutz l'makom you don't. He started off the worst of the worst, chutz l'zman. So right now he's going to be chayiv kares, but then he ruined it. He added another thought. He added a chutz l'makom. No good. It's not chutz l'zman. It'll be possible, but you're not going to get kares. Now you didn't do it the right way. Fine. Minchas choite. What's a minchas choite? The mincha of a sinner. Somebody does a chet. Let's say he goes into Beis Hamikdash when he's tummy. Uminchas knois. Minchas choite uminchas knois shkmotim shaloi l'shmon. Oh, so the very first Mishnah in Menachos is like the very first Mishnah in Zvachim. That if you think while you're bringing a carbon mincha, bring a mincha. And the kohen thinks to himself it's a different mincha, l'mashal. Instead of thinking to himself it's a marcheshes, he thinks it's a chavitin. Instead of thinking it's a nadava, he thinks it's a chayta. There's different menachos. He thinks the wrong one, so it's not good for the owner, but it's not possible. You don't throw it in the garbage, but there are two that you throw in the garbage. Minchas chayta and minchas kenois. Minchas kenois, what is it? I got into my canoes, so I forgot to explain what it is. It's when a woman, her husband suspects her, he says, don't be misyachad with that guy, and she doesn't listen, so he brings her to the Beis Hamikdash, and they give her the drink, and they erase Hashem's name, the whole thing. One of the things she has to do is she has to bring a mincha. It's called the minchas kenois of a saita. So, shikimotzim shloi lishmon, the kohen, instead of saying, oh, this is a mincha from the saita, he said, no, this is a mincha and a dava. Whatever, he messed up. Oh, so now we have two machshavas. One is that it's a minchas nidava, which is a wrong machshava, bad machshava. It makes this mincha completely puzzled, throw it in the garbage. And he also thought to himself, or he started off with, I'm going to eat it tomorrow. It's chutzazman. But he also added another thing, that it's the wrong mincha. It's not a minchas choyte. It's a minchas nadava. He didn't do it the right way. What if he did two things? One kezayis on Mars, one kezayis tomorrow, or kezayis l'machar, kezayis b'chutz, or one. The first kezayis was for tomorrow, the second kezayis for Mars. Kachatzi zayis b'chutz, a half a zayis in Mars. Kachatzi zayis l'machar. They want to combine them together as a kezayis. Doesn't matter which one comes first. Pasol ve'ein by kares tachlis. The bottom line, all this, you cannot have two machshavas. If you want to do pigul, it has to be by itself. You can't add another machshava of chutz lamakim to it, or chutz or shaloi lishma to it. Omar Rabbi Yehuda zaklal. I have a rule. Im machshavas hazman kodmol machshavas hamakim pigul v'chayim of cars. Says Rabbi Yehuda very nicely. If the machshava of the zman comes first, meaning the severe one, the one that gives you a karas, comes first, so it locked in, it's karas. Now that you added a chutz lamakim, you didn't ruin it. The guy gets karas. Im machshavas hamakim godmol machshavas hazman. But if the machshava that you're going to eat it on Mars came first, so now it's possible. Possible in cars. You can add to it isser, a greater isser. You already put in, it's a chutz lamakim, you can't make it a chutz zman. The chacham is a possible in cars, it doesn't matter what came first. If you do chutz lamakim first and then chutz zman, or if you do chutz zman first and then chutz lamakim, both of them become possible and there's no cars. Iboilu. Look at the steps. Step number 1 is he did kmitza. Step number 2, he has shirayim, he has a bowl full of flour, and comes a mouse and eats out of this bowl. Yeah, for whatever reason, some of the shirayim went missing. What's the halacha, Rabbi Isai? So we had a few machlokes in here. Do you continue with the kmitza? So first of all, the shirayim is 100% also for to eat. Why? Because the shirayim went missing. There's not enough. Some of the shirayim is gone before he was able to put the kmitza on the mizbeach. What about the kmitza in step 1? What do you do with the kmitza from step 1? So it's machlokes. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you put it on the mizbeach. So ask the Gemara, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you put it on the mizbeach. Once you put it on the mizbeach, did it have an effect on the shirayim? Look, the shirayim is also to eat. So could I have a machshava of pigul on something that I can't even eat? What's pigul? Pigul means I'm going to eat this tomorrow. I can't even eat it today. It's also for me to eat. Step 3 tells me it's also to eat. So, but I put it on the mizbeach, I was makter the koymetz onto the mizbeach, and I'm thinking to myself in my head, I'm going to eat this, not today, tomorrow. I was over on pigul. I can't even eat it today. Another shayla, I makter the koymetz, the shirayim that's in a bowl, what happens if I use it? Typically, if I use it, I'm over on mi'ilah. I can't use something from the Beis HaMikdash. But once I put the koymetz on the mizbeach, then it lifts the isser of milah. I'm allowed to use it. But this is also to eat now. So does the fact that I put the kmitza on the mizbeach, does it lift the isser of milah? That's the question here. Shirayim, what happens to the shirayim after I put the koymetz on the mizbeach? Is there pigul and is there milah? Yeah, the shayla. Very interesting shayla. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that says that you should do step 4, put the kmitza on top of the mizbeach. We know that step 3 tells me that everything left in the bowl is also to eat. Does the Haktorah help me to say that if the kohen had a machshava that I'm going to eat it tomorrow instead of today, then it becomes pigul? And another question, does it become mi'ilah? Does it take it away from mi'ilah? What does mi'ilah mean? If I use something from the Beis HaMikdash, I have to pay the Beis HaMikdash 25%, the chaimish. And, yeah, I'm going to say it again, a chaimish is 25% in English. That's how we call it. Chaimish, yes, in chumash it means 20%, but in America it's 25%. I'll explain it at a different time. And also a carbon you have to bring. Says Ravuna, listen, check this out. We have an identical case almost. A guy did shchita. The guy took the behema outside of the Beis HaMikdash, big no-no for this particular animal, like a chatas. You can't take it outside. That's called yotzei. Then he did zrika. So the question is, does zrika help me to take off the mi'ilah? Let's say I made a barbecue out of the meat. Do I have to pay the Beis HaMikdash 20%, 25% more? So zrikas hadam is similar to our case of putting, right? We said the 4 avodas of a carbon is similar to the 4 avodas of mincha. Throwing the blood on the mizbeach is just like being maktir the mincha on top of the mizbeach. And over there we have a machlokes if zrikas hadam actually removes something. It's already aser. The meat is already bad. It's also just like by us in our case. Look, let's go back to our case. Oh, there. I have to click all these buttons. I'm going to go like here. In our case also, the shirayim is aser. In the second case, the basar is also. Both the same thing. And then we have a matter. We have putting the kmitza on top of the mizbeach, and then we have throwing the blood on the mizbeach. The same thing. And Rebbe Akiva says what? When you throw the blood, even though the meat is outside of the Beis Hamikdash, it works for something that's bad. Hanimili, says the Gemara, says Rav Huna, Hanimili yoytei disi be'einei. The whole cow, the whole sheep is mamish in front of you. Upasul machmas davar acher. Why is it puzzle? Because it went out, but it's all there. But when you have a bowl of flour that a mouse came and ate from it, it's not all here. The psul de gufeyu. The psul is because something's missing. It should be worse. Maybe aktar doesn't help. Why? Because it's missing something. So comes along Rav and says, Adarabba, let me tell you a fakir to svara. What? Even here, so Yoshi did something. I don't know if this will help the Olam. Why not? If you do zrika for something that went outside, it doesn't work. And if you do aktara for something that's missing, it doesn't work. But according to Rebbe Akiva, if you do zrika for something that's outside, it does work. So perhaps, as Rav Huna, no, it's different. Because it's missing, so if it's missing, even according to Rebbe Akiva, it's green. The zrika works, but the aktara is not going to work. Says Rava, no. It would work. Mamish fakir. Why? Adarabba. I like this a lot. I'll tell you why. Listen to these words. To me, I understand it. Anybody in business can understand this. You know why it doesn't work? Because it's outside. So says Rava, look at the words. Now it makes a lot of sense. Adarabba, he says. That's because he went outside and he's not inside. So it doesn't work. But this bowl of flour that's missing, you're right, it's a big problem, it's missing. But the Issa Bifnim, he's inside, he's playing the game, he's part of it. So he's missing a few dapim. That it works. I'll prove it to you. Let me show you the Mishnah. You don't even have to see the Mishnah. It's all on the screen. It says, what does it say in the Mishnah? 4 times, 4 halachas. The kmitza and on the shirayim. Pigul and chutz. The Mishnah keeps on going back and forth and saying, but if you have a kizayis left. There's 2 ways Rabbi said to learn the Mishnah. I don't want to confuse anybody. Very simple. Either, b'mitzias, the fact is, there's only kizayis left. Kizayis, that's all he had left. Or in his brain, it's not a mitzias, in his brain he thought about doing pigul, I'm going to eat tomorrow 1 kizayis. So says Rava, look, it's mashma in the Mishnah that it's a physical thing. All you had left is a kizayis. Now Rabbi, take a look. Look at this. No, put it back. Look at this. You see this chart? What do you see in this? This is Reb Chia. Reb Chia is the one that wrote all the brises, right? All the brises. So when he copied the Mishnah, he said the entire Mishnah like we have it. What's missing from it? I erased what he took out. He doesn't mention anything about a kizayis. Why? Because, very simple, Rava says. Because you can't say, on one of the 4 cases, you can't say kizayis. Which one? When he goes to do a kmitza, you can't say he had a kizayis left, because that would be what? That would be a kmitza from something that's missing. You have to have a fully sorry when you do a kmitza. And if you only have a kizayis left, it's puzzle. So I can't say the case of a kizayis there. So in Meila, says I'm not going to get involved now with kizaysim. Throw all even though it works well in the other 3 cases, if it doesn't work well in the first one, I'm going to take the word kizayis out completely. So proves Rava, says Rava, wait a minute. You see from here that if you have a kizayis left, the second part of the Mishnah, you have a kizayis left, only a kizayis, even according to Rebbe Chia, it works. Your pigul works, like the Mishnah says, pigul works, even though you only have a kizayis left. You asked me, what was the question? If you have leftover in a bowl, Does the pigul work when I put it on the mizbeach? Yes, here it says before in the Mishnah it works. Doesn't say that. My time electronic kizayis. Why does Rebbe Chia take out all the kizayis from his brisa? We're talking about a physical thing, that there's only one kizayis left in a bowl, not in his brain, but in the bowl. They skip here these 4 words, geschmack for us. We just skip 4 words. Ashirayim, shirayim, Bekitzer, what it says over here in the Gemara, because I can't say it by the Kemitza, so I'm not going to say it by the other 3. And what's the raya? Here we go, second line down. Viktani Seifa, Higul, V'chayav Malakaris. Even though there's only one kizayis left, that's our question. If the shirayim, the mouse ate from the bowl, there's only one kizayis left, it's pigul. It works. The pigul works. You ask me, does pigul work? Does me'ilah go off? Yes. It says over here, pigul works. V'chayav Malakaris. Viktani Seifa, Pigul, V'chayav Malakaris. Amhailak Tara. Omerle Abaya. Loi. Your raya is not good, Rava. Homani Rebbe Lozerhi. No, the reason why Reb Chia in the Brisa doesn't say the word kizayis is because he cannot. Not because he could, because he can't. It doesn't fit in because he goes like Rebbe Lazar. The Snan, Rebbe Lazar says, Akoimet, V'halavayna, the kmitza that you do from a mincha, the levayna, the fragrances that goes in the mincha, V'haktoiris, O minchas kohanim. When a kohen brings a mincha, they don't do the kmitza. O minchas kohen Mashiach, when the kohen gadol brings the mincha every single day, 2 times a day he brings a mincha, there's no kmitza. O minchas nesachim, in the mincha that comes together with the karbanet. Sheikir v'achas mehem kizayis bachut, chayav. If he brought a kizayis outside, Yechayev. Rebbe Lazar point that Yaakov is kuloi, not a kizayis. The kizayis doesn't work. You ask me, Yaakov Rebbe Chia doesn't say kizayis. He holds like Rebbe Lazar. Poiter at Yaakov is kuloi. You have to be makiv the entire mincha, not a kizayis of the mincha, the whole thing. So that's why he holds like Rebbe Lazar. So even though part of the Mishnah, the Shirayim part of the Mishnah, you could say kizayis, even according to Rebbe Lazar. Not a little bit like, because I can't say the first part kizayis, I don't say the second part or kizayis. Ask the Gemara just a simple question. How could you say that it goes like Rebbe Lazar? Why does it say that he's makter the kaimet? It should say he's makter 2 things, the kaimet and the levayna, because according to Rebbe Lazar, that's the only way to be b'chayiv, the snan. It says in the Mishnah, according to Rebbe Eliezer, according to the Tanakh, is 1 out of the 2. If you makter 1 out of the 2 outside of the Beis Hamikdash, chayiv, you're chayiv. Rebbe Lazar pointed out Yaakov Shneim. You have to do not only the entire mincha, but the entire mincha with all the levayna, then you're chayiv. So how come he doesn't mention levayna? Rebbe Lazar pointed out Yaakov Shneim. I'll tell you why. Rebbe said, think about it. Sometimes there's no levayna. When is there no levayna? When it comes to mincha? A mincha schayte. There's no levayna. So the mincha schayte. We're talking about, ask the Gemara, what? All this, a lot of times the Gemara says that all this, just for that little case, the minchas choyte in Kiddushin Chavav. See, I don't even remember what I looked up before. So yeah, he said all this for the minchas choyte. V'chenki Yasser Avdimi Yomer Rebbe Lazar koymet minchas choyte Rebbe Lazar he. Okay, so it goes like Rebbe Lazar. No, in other words, no Rava, you don't have a raya that it goes like Rebbe Chia, that the Rebbe Chia holds that there's a kazayis left, and then that kazayis you can do pigul. No, the reason why he doesn't put the word kazayis in the brisa, because he holds like Rebbe Lazar, the kazayis is no good. Okay, next sugya. Hodo Amarava. It's not really next sugya. Continuation. Hodo Amarava. La milzi da Amr. The saying kodesh kedoshim hu. If one of the, I'm not going to show you again because we showed it 3 days in a row, but if one of the lechem aponim broke, here, we'll show it to you, fine, I'll show it to you. One of the lechem aponim broke, you cannot eat any of the other lechem aponim. Kulam sulois. And the Gemara is medayik, hayatzos, only if they broke, but what if it went outside of Beis HaMikdash? The ones that are left inside, you could eat. It's a nice diuk. But the Gemara is going to say, you know what? Let's make a different diuk. Instead of saying, if it broke is all possible. But if it went outside, it's kosher. Just say, if it broke, it's possible. But if it became tamei, it's kosher. The dig is good, but the wrong concept. That's what the Gemara is going to say in a second. If you think there's a tougher Gemara, you're right. It's one of the tougher ones of Menachos. Baruch Hashem, we got through the hard stuff. Yesterday we had mamish, it flowed, it was just, kmitza like this, kmitza like that. Today a little tougher. No. That's what we have in Shas. Who says that we had this whole sugya, right? To remind the Olam, this thing right over here. If you shechted an animal, you shechted an animal, what happened? You shechted an animal and you took the meat outside and you did zrikas hadam, then it works. The zrika works that there's no meat. Who says that? That's Rabbi Kiva. But when it comes to a broken piece of bread, in other words, something's missing from it, not. In other words, missing is worse than yoytze. No, your dick is off. If it broke, then it's all possible. But if it became tamei, it's not a problem. Why? Hanach shares. Why? What's pshat? By the time the meratzit sits in the Beis Hamikdash, the Kohen Gadol would wear this on his forehead, Kodesh Hashem, and the machlokes is exactly how the words were. Okay, this is just like to give you a little bit of a musug. It's not really like that. The tzitz has a power for tumah. If there's something tamei, it makes it kosher. Aviyatzis lies in certain situations. So if it's tamei, you're allowed to eat the breads. The lechem aponim became tamei. You're allowed to eat it, the kosher, because of the tzitz. Aviyatzis lies, but once it goes out, not. Rebbe Lezi, the Omar in Zrika Mayelzi, goes according to Rebbe Lezi that says that Zrika doesn't help, the one that's Mechulgan Rebbe Kiva. And Ubedinu, we're almost done, Tzaddik. Ubedinu, the Boyle Lemisni Nami Yatzos. The truth is, it should say, if the lechem aponim broke, or if it went out of the Beis Hamikdash, you can't eat the rest. By the Tony Nifrus, why does it only say the broken bread? It's all there inside the Beis Hamikdash, like we said before the Svar of Rava. If you're inside, you're in the game. You have a maila. Nevertheless, being maktir the bezichin, the 2 spoons worth of levain doesn't help. But Rebbe Kiva who says that zrika does help for something that goes out. So too by the bread, when they're broken, then the zrika helps the 1 minute. Not the zrika. The aktara helps when you mark the bezichin. It helps for the breads. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDY.com.